order. The date is May 27, 2025.
How many seniors are here?
How many seniors are here?
79.
79 are here right now in this building?
About 70, I would say, yes.
70? You just check your transcripts for graduation?
It's not able to.
Congratulations. Class of 2025.
And it's kind of interesting. I know some of us, especially part of the Alumni Foundation, was able to see a lot of the interviews, and now we're able to put faces together with either some of my classmates or our classmates, some of our teachers, some of our employees. So it's a great day to have you all in here, and thank you for coming. At this time, we'll go to the first item, and I believe we have some valedictorians and salutatorians up here, right? Oh, I just called you before. Yeah, then
Okay, go ahead.
let me. If you, any salutatorian or valedictorian on the next coming item for the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge, if you could join us. But at this time, I'm going to ask Adrian if you could roll call.
Ms. Barnes?
Present.
Ms. Borrego?
Borrego's running late. She has a I'm sorry. She's just running late.
Okay. Ms. Maldonado?
Present.
Mr. Martinez did call ahead and mentioned also that he will be running late. Mrs. Ortega?
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Present.
Ms. Zúñiga?
Here.
Student advisors Theodore Loughlin and Jacob Lozano?
And at this time, if we could have the salutatorian and valedictorian of each, either Northwestern College or Cantillo High School join us. This time we'll go to the CISD vision and mission statement. There's Maldonado to lead us in the mission, and Ms. Ortega into the vision statement.
Our mission statement. We provide equitable opportunities to ensure our future-ready students are empowered to explore, learn, grow, and excel.
Our vision statement: lead today, impact tomorrow.
Thank you, Ms. Maldonado, Ms. Ortega. I will take this to the next agenda item.
Item number 2, Board Honors. Item 2A, recognition of 2025 Cantillo Alumni Foundation for Education Cafe scholarship winners from Cantillo High School and Northwest Early College High School. Presenter Gustavo Reveles.
Board President Rodriguez, members of the board, and Dr. Garavis, it's my pleasure to be here tonight to celebrate the accomplishments of the students in our incredible school district. Would you please join me in front of the dais as we begin tonight's presentation? Each year, a dedicated group of Cantillo ISD alumni comes together to raise thousands of dollars with one shared goal: to support our graduating seniors in achieving their post-secondary academic goals. To date, the Cantillo Alumni Foundation for Education, better known as CAFE, has awarded hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships to seniors from both Cantillo High School and Northwest Early College High School. This year is no exception. Thanks to the tireless efforts of its members, CAFE will award 79 seniors with a $1,000 scholarship each, funds that can be used toward tuition, books, or any other higher education related expense. This year's CAFE scholars represent diverse backgrounds, academic journeys, and communities from across our district. But they all share one thing in common. They are soon to be proud Cantillo ISD alumni. Please help me welcome the CAFE scholars from Northwest Early College High School. And please come up as your name is called. Emily Alvarez. Miranda Andrade. Madeline Cruz. Yamilet Contreras. Mia Covarrubio. Brandon Enciso. Sebastian Esparza. Bailey Fugate. Gabriel Garcia. Lisette Hernandez. Jacqueline Hernandez. Mia Hernandez. Novina Holguín. Erica Lopez. Arisa Marquez. Elizabeth Marshall. Isabela Montenegro. Diana Monte. Jocelyn Ontiveros. Wendy Ontiveros. April Orona. Jacque Palma. Cindy Saldaña Villegas. Emerson Schultz. Adelina Sedevi. Sophia Welton, and Jackson Wetton. All right, Christians, we're all gonna crowd in for a photo, and will Mr. Clark, our principal, please join us as well. Any other Northwest scholars that I might have missed? Yeah, up one step.
There's 2 steps, so one.
Congratulations, Griffins, from the class of 2025. And a big shout out to the parents, teachers, and families who supported them all along the way. All right, if you can stick around, do you want a photo? We want to do a photo, try and get everyone.
We're gonna try to get everybody, so if y'all can stick around real quick on the next one.
All right, now please join me in welcoming the Cafe Scholars from Cantillo High School. Giselle Amato. Juan Anaya. Xochitl Abolata. Jimena Avila. Benjamin Baker. Daniela Caballero. Dominic Caraway. Alan Castillo. Gabriela Checo. Rachel Cisneros. Kiana Cleves Mullen. Sofía Coronado. Jalen Delgado. Raimundo Domínguez. Miranda Durán Alba. Sarah Dwyer. Anaí Gámez. Matthew Gasta. Elliot Gill. Ronnie Gonzalez. Acio Grado. Haley Harrison. Mia Hernandez. René Huerta. TJ Locke. Daniel Luna. John Martinez. Matthew Medina. Mariana Medrano. Roxanne Mejia. Alia Moreno. Isabella Moreno. Tia Munoz. Manuel Homero. Jay Cornelas. Lauren Orancia. Josiah Ortiz. Andrés Pacheco. Arely Paz. Emilio Renovato. Brandon Rodriguez. Dominic Rodriguez. Oasis Rodriguez. Alicia Romero. Gael Williams. Arlette Salas. Daniela Sánchez. Sebastian Santos. Michael Smith. Jervin Valdez. Christian Villicana. And Zachary Zamora. Any other scholar that I might have missed?
Let's get the students up front. It's about the students.
We go to the back. We're not gonna. Nobody's gonna see it. It's okay. All right. Chaparro, no más
This Abuko, please join us. All right, guys, let's get real time.
Get in the window, everyone. Ladies in the back, get in the window. Get in the window. See everyone's eyes.
I need some people from this side to go to the other end.
Everyone scoot down just a little bit if you can. Everybody look at the LA Dodger camera, the LA Dodger camera. Alright. Keep your eyes open. Raise your hand, number one. One of those will be on the list.
All right, Northwest Scholars, can you come up and try and get it? I don't think it's gonna.
Congratulations, guys. Congratulations. Way to go, guys.
Oh my God.
Anybody wants to get up on their knees or sit down?
Yeah, we're gonna go outside.
Yeah, get on your knees. You should be able to do this. No doubt.
Elizabeth, maybe like that sign that's like red.
Alright. 1, 2, smile. 3, open your eyes. Open your eyes. Right, next.
Bless you. Good job, Rashad. 1, 2, 3. Right there, everyone. All right.
Here you go, kind of deal. Here you go. And Griffin.
Are we done? All done?
All right, board, let's jump back. All right, again, congratulations to the Eagles and to the Griffins, and let's hear it again for those parents, teachers, grandmas,
Debe tomar un foto. alcanzó, sí alcanzó.
2, 3.
Yes.
Yes, we got 2 more presentations, we'll do them real quick. All right, board. 4 years ago, Canutillo ISD became a trailblazer in education governance by being the first district in Texas to establish the role of student advisor to the board of trustees. Each month, our board benefits from the insight and perspectives of student leaders, helping ensure that decisions remain student-centered and classroom-focused. This year, we had the privilege of working with 2 outstanding student advisors, TJ Lockman from Canutillo High School and Jacob Lozano from Northwest Early College. Tonight, on their final day as student advisors, we recognize their dedication to the district and their commitment to serving their fellow students. Please help me in recognizing Northwest Early College student, Jacob Lozano. All right, let's do a photo.
Here you go, Jacob.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3. All right.
Will family please join us up here for a photo?
Don't be shy, don't be shy.
That's all right.
It's okay, it doesn't matter.
We'll hide the shorts.
Thanks for letting us. I'm sure he's on point.
Congratulations.
He's like,
Congratulations.
yeah, no.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. You're welcome.
Congratulations.
There you go. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you.
Board members, please accept this award on behalf of TJ Laughlin, who could not be with us tonight due to a prior scholarship engagement. We still want to recognize him. If everybody come, stand, please.
I'm no TJ, but I'll try.
He's yours.
Can you say where he's at tonight?
Yes, he is accepting a football scholarship on the east side, and so he's one heck of a student. He's getting a lot of recognition, so he's obviously very busy. Thank you, Jacob, and we're gonna do a photo? Yes.
Well, how are you gonna get TJ?
Yeah, you see that.
You
All right, we'll Photoshop him.
We'll get him on Friday at graduation.
Well, I did tell him that we were gonna give him this plaque later on. Thank you, Jacob and TJ, for your service. Jacob, don't go too far. We still need you to help finish tonight's agenda.
Yes.
As we close another successful school year, we take a moment to recognize our very best and brightest, the class of 2025 valedictorians and salutatorians. Canutillo ISD seniors have had an extraordinary year, earning numerous academic accolades and securing millions of dollars in scholarships. Saying the class of 2025 left its mark is an understatement. Leading this exceptional class are 4 students whose academic achievements are nothing short of remarkable. From Northwest Early College, High School, we honor Sebastian Esparza, the salutatorian of the class, and one of 3 seniors attending an Ivy League university this fall. Sebastian will study public policy at the University of Pennsylvania.
He's the val.
He is the yes, I'm sorry. Did I say the valedictorian, yes. Sebastian, please come forward to be recognized as valedictorian. Yes, we're doing it for you.
Okay. His mother's not feeling well. Right? That's right.
All right. 1, 2, 3. There you go. So that's not this, and there you go. 1, 2, 3.
The Northwest salutatorian, Fatima Garcia Meraz, also is bound for the Ivy League. She will attend Princeton University to study public policy and economics. Fatima, I don't believe is here today, but we still want to recognize her and send her all our best wishes. From Garofio High School, we recognize valedictorian Matthew Medina. This history-making senior earned more than $1 million in scholarships and became only the 4th student in El Paso to win a state championship in UIL math. He will attend the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where he plans to launch an AI-focused educational technology startup. Matthew, please come forward to be recognized. Parents, please come up. Oh, family. We're missing principal. Our class of 2025 salutatorian is Jalen Delgado, whose engineering skills took him to the World Robotics Championship earlier this year. Jalen will attend UT Austin to study aerospace engineering. Jalen, please come forward to be recognized. Mom, Dad, and family, please come up as well. And there's my
Hi. All right. 1, 2, 3.
One or two? Oh, wait. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 4. One, 2, and 3. Thank you.
Congratulations to Garofio ISD's best and brightest. Good luck. We can't wait to see what you guys do on our behalf. Board President Rodriguez, members of the board, Director David, this concludes tonight's board honors. And before that, I'd like to announce with respect, Eagle Shoes are featuring our youngest Eagle.
Baby Eagle, yes.
Thank you for your continued support.
See you at the football game. Thank you, sir. See if we can emerge. Are you safe?
Adrian, that'll take us to
Item number 3, open forum. Any person wishing to address the board during the period reserved for public comment at a board meeting must sign up to be heard in accordance with district policy DED local. Each participant will be limited to 3 minutes to make comments to the board. The board is not permitted to discuss or act over any issues that are not posted on the agenda for tonight's meeting. For further information on these policies, contact the superintendent's administrative assistant. And Mr. President, we only have one speaker for tonight. That's going to be Ms. Julie Scott regarding her heartfelt appreciation of Jose Damian Elementary School.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Dr. Gallagher. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Julie Scott, and I would like to express heartfelt gratitude on behalf of my family to the faculty and staff of Jose Damian Elementary. For the past 7 years, we've called JDE our home. My daughter began 3rd grade in Ms. Chong's class, and my son started pre-K in Ms. Empery's class. My daughter is now finishing her freshman year at Conquio High School, and my son is completing 5th grade. All year, I've been thinking about how to express my appreciation for the educators I've come to know and love. It's difficult to put into words all of my feelings, but I want to share my gratitude with you and our community. If you're not aware, JD is fortunate to have an exceptional principal, Ms. Castillo. I call her the Golden Goose because she has excellent ideas and is a hidden gem of CISD. She has brought about significant positivity and improvement since her arrival. She engages with both the kids and parents, listens to staff, and is a blessing all around. Ms. Sagier has only been here for a few months, but is quickly becoming part of our culture and is already making a positive impact. Ms. Garcia, affectionately known as Mama Mary, is the hardest working office manager in CISD. Her efficiency, organization, and dedication help keep JDE running smoothly. Our receptionist Lisa and our attendance clerk Ms. Galindo spread sunshine with their positivity and warm smiles as they greet and assist everyone who enters JDE. Nurse Portillo is intelligent, compassionate, hardworking, and engages well with the children. Ms. Couillard serves as a supportive parent liaison and energizing and motivating parents to get involved. Mr. Monroe and his custodial staff are consistently on the move, ensuring our school remains clean and welcoming. Ms. Esme and our cafeteria staff create a delightful atmosphere at mealtimes, making our school smell wonderful and brightening the environment with their beautiful smiles. Officer Rodriguez always greets everyone with a smile while checking every door, engaging with students, keeping us safe. Ms. Ancheta, our school counselor, is a lifesaver. Without her support during COVID, I'm not sure either my son or I would have been able to cope. She is a valuable sounding board and guide, always going above and beyond. If you don't believe me, just attend one of her career fairs where you can witness a helicopter landing at our school. I cannot fully express how wonderful our teachers are. My children have had only a few of them, but I appreciate all of the others as well. Whether it's working together to improve our school in CIC, renting the snack cart in the wind and the sun to raise funds for field trips, or simply sharing a smile and encouragement in the hallways. My heart overflows with gratitude for these dedicated individuals who devote their lives to teaching, loving, and supporting our children. From teachers like Ms. Alambru and Ms. Fernandez, who offer guidance, reassurance, and teamwork to make my son's journey easier, to Ms. Pam and our specialists who assist students with diverse needs, and Ms. Gaitan, who brings a huge smile and support as she moves from class to class. Thank you all. Ms. Ramey and Ms. Molina in the library inspires a love for reading, showing students the excitement and adventures that await in books. Ms. Cox shares her passion of music with the kids in a fun and engaging way. Ms. Trong, Ms. M. Chavez, Ms. Montes were inspiring educators in my daughter's journey at JDE. Likewise, Ms. Z, Ms. Smart, Ms. Corona, Ms. P. Chavez, Ms. Trong, Ms. David, and Ms. Montes have guided and inspired my son. Your love, support, guidance, and teamwork during these formative years mean more to me than I can ever express. So thank you all.
Mr. President, that concludes board open forum. Item number 4, Board of Trustees business. 4A, discussion and action for the warrant list to be added back to the RBN agendas. Presenter, Trustee Brian Barnes.
Mr. Chair, if I may. So I'm requesting this item due to just us being the fiscal people who are fiscally responsible for the budget of the district. I think it's imperative that we see how our money is being spent throughout the year, and so that's why I'm requesting this. I know that it is a document that is time consuming to put together, but I know that we have done it in the past for years, and I feel like it's just an added piece of transparency, not just for us to know that we are doing what we need to do and we're watching every single dollar, but also for our community to know that we're doing the same. So that was my reason for adding this to the agenda for us to vote on tonight.
Sir, just real quick, I did a couple of research, and in regards to the district, there's none that I saw that actually had a warrant report approval on the Board of Trustees meeting. There was several that had periodic budget reports, monthly revenues and expenditures, but no budget reports, and maybe that's something we can do, but I don't believe that we should go. One, we're minimizing the staff that we have, and then we're asking for more, and I don't want, culture war issues to come about warrant list items. And looking at back in the reason why we had the warrant list item, especially Ms. Searles, and if you look at some of the questions that she had in asking some of this, which was back in 22, this was one of their questions. The question is raised out of $182. The question is raised, shirts are needed for which board members? Ms. Patricia Cedes provided the following response. The description on the purchase order states executive board members and student council. Another item was, the question is raised, what are SIL Ray with GOL Ray panels? Mr. Jose Vargas has provided. They are badges for security guards, 7 of them. I mean, at the end of the day, if we want to continue to question in regards to Lone Star governance and focusing on student outcomes, I think that's where we should. I know there's another agenda item in regards to the threshold, that's up for discussion, but I think to add more case load to our staff that, especially during these budget crunches and we don't know what's going to happen, I think it's the wrong thing to do, and I would recommend against it.
Mr. Chair, I have a question. In a case like this, the board list is a list of items where money has been spent by the district, correct? So the board list is basically just to review what every penny has been spent, every dollar, how we spend, is that correct?
Yeah.
So it's a done deal.
It's already done.
Who puts this warrant list together?
It would have to be staff.
Staff, accounting, I assume, finance? More or less, how much money do we go through a month? More or less.
It would depend on the month. Like now our expenditures are a lot higher. We're spending money on bond projects. However, we would receive a warrant list of questions. It would usually consist anywhere between 5 to 10 questions, and we would decipher that amongst the district, whoever it is that it attained to, and then we would put together an executive summary and a report on all the questions, including attachments, anything to I guess provide more clarity on the purchase. But I can tell you that it does take time. It takes hours to put together depending on the questions that are being asked.
How much would you say, how many hours would it take to put this warrant list together?
I could tell you from my predecessor, Ms. Pekarsky, used to spend about 2 hours taking the questions from 2 different board members is really who would ask. I don't think any other board member would ask any questions other than those 2, and she would take about 2 hours to take in the questions. we would type them up, write them up, and then send them out to whatever campus, department, wherever it is. We would have to, of course, research which line item it was that they're looking at, get the PO, get the copy of the PO, send it out, get the responses, and put together responses for the warrant report.
Yeah. My only concern is, I know we're going through building some schools. We have the architects in line working, spending some money maybe with contractors. Small amount right now, but we're gonna spend a lot of money. I think it's something that we need to know how much money we're spending specifically on the bond. We also understand what Mr. Rodriguez mentioned. I don't wanna get into a question as to how many pens or how many shirts or how much gas or et cetera we spend. And I've seen it before. It really gets tedious when we sit here and I've sat on that side and I wonder what's going on. Is somebody questioning the responsibility of the district, the responsibility of the administration, how we spend the money? I don't know that. However, I do agree with Mr. Rodriguez. I think if we were to discuss, I think we need to give it some thought. I'm of the opinion that we need to see it, but I'm of the opinion that we can't be picking on every little thing. And I think we need to create perhaps a dialogue, some communication to see what we are expecting. Because I don't want to spend past 3 board meetings been here till midnight. I don't want to be here, to be honest.
We do provide as part of our transparency stars with the comptroller, there is a check register that's posted every month. Shows every check that was issued to every vendor. And that is public information. It's posted on our website.
Do we have access to?
Yes, sir.
Something I didn't notice. All respect.
The other thing that I would recommend, I'd rather put that money into hiring an internal auditor in regards to wasting staff's time. I think that's more important, that's more time spent, better spent than us having to, have staff create these reports that in regards to, I thought you all went through LSG governance training, and that's something we shouldn't be focusing on. Yes, if you want to look at the budget, then we could probably provide a quarterly budget report. That's an agenda item that we're going to talk about in this month, and we could probably put that quarterly to discuss how we close the budget if it's not balanced yet. But I think that's more important than us having to create these warrant reports. And then, as you can see, my research, no district requires that. There's others that require different type of reports. There's something that we could put quarterly, but I think this is, in my eyes, I think we're overreaching.
Mr. Chair? With all due respect, though, I think that we do have to be respectful for the requests that are being made by board members, whether we agree or not. And with that being said, my concern is I can see where accountability comes in, and we're not saying that it's being misused or anything as far as funding. But the accountability for the community, since we are in a deficit, and I also understand the time it would take to put together this list. And we already have the employees. We wouldn't have to hire employees, correct? There would be people within your department to do the warranty list, the warrant list?
They would have to.
Okay. So is there something that, I know that the next agenda item talks about like a threshold. But what if we were to put a threshold and say anything within that threshold that we get a warrant list? I understand that, and I don't like that we go back to what other board members used to nitpick at. This is a new board. This is a new board. And so I think our concern and our vision is the same. It's about students, but at the same time it's about balancing the budget. And by doing that, we're looking out for our students. We're looking out for the programs, we're looking out for the teachers, we should be. That would be our goal. And so what I would recommend is that somehow maybe we do a warrant list that is not nitpicking like right now. I'm assuming you're you're spending money on things that need to be done for next school year. You know, as a teacher, I realize that. And I know that campuses have their budget, their money that they can spend, and the line item, we can only spend it on such and such things. I agree, nitpicking on how many pencils or pens or t-shirts, that would be at the discretionary of the campus because they have a budget to be able to use, whether it be for teacher appreciation or welcome back type thing. We shouldn't ask about that. However, I do think that we do need some accountability, and as board members, I believe that we should be provided with that. Thank you.
Ms. Maldonado, I just wanted to say that I agree with that threshold idea. I think it's a great idea, and we can set a limit, maybe $1,000. As anything higher than that, it would be, you know, accounted for. I don't know if you think that's a good number to start discussing. But I think at this time it would be beneficial to the board members.
I think $1,000 is too low because you can easily spend it in just school supplies. So I think that the threshold would have to be a little bit higher. That's my opinion.
Mr. Chair. So if I may, I agree with that, and I do think that 1,000 would be too low, especially when we're talking at a campus level. But I do think to avoid the nitpicking and looking at things that we're not interested in, the pens and pencils and things of that sort. I know Mr. Martinez, had asked how long it takes to prepare. You talked about responding to the questions, but how long does it actually take to prepare the document itself that would be reported to us? Let's just say as it was before.
So the report probably takes maybe 30 minutes or so to prepare itself. It is usually about a 400-page report every month. And the reason why it would take longer, I guess, during those conversations of those questions was because Ms. Pekarsky would try to answer as many as she could to avoid having to research them. She would give us only the questions that required additional research or that she didn't have an answer for. So like I said, it just depends on the questions, how much research, and of course we also have our procurement guidelines that allow for certain things to be procured. We have our procurement is an award-winning department, and they do adhere by that. And like I said before, there is a transparency report online, check register. You know, if you have questions, maybe those can be put into a Thursday packet, anything like that. I don't know if that's an option for y'all.
So is that transparency, can you explain where you would go to see that? Because I wasn't aware that was there either.
Yeah, it's under the financial services,
okay.
I believe it's under transparency.
Okay.
And it's listed there as a check register.
Check register, and that's updated every single month? Every month, at the end of the month, okay. So basically that would be what the warrant list would be, correct?
Right, it's more general. It doesn't have like every detail of the line items.
Okay.
But if maybe you saw a particular vendor that maybe raised a question and you'd like to know what was purchased from them, we can do research for you at that point.
Mr. Chair, one quick question. Ms. Pulley. Ms. Pulley, so give us an idea of a specific item. What will we find in there? Obviously the amount, obviously what we use for,
The description.
user.
Right, it'll give you the vendor, the purchase order number, the amount, the quantity, the description of the line item. So just to give you, I guess, a little insight, every week we approve about 300 to 400 line items on requisitions. So that multiplied times the weeks we are here, it's significant. That's why it's a 300 to 400 page document. I'm sorry?
That cost of printing, especially for the
Correct. So we would print copies of those, and of course we would also print one for Ms. McCarthy so she'd be ready to write down her questions.
So if we didn't print those and we just sent them electronically, I mean, everything is on the agenda anyway, electronically. If we were to do that and not print them, it would basically just take that 30 minutes to run that report.
Right, we have to put it together. I believe it included information, legal information, a summary sheet by fund, and then the actual report. So it does take some time to to run the report and compile it and put it together as one PDF.
So is there a way to run that report, as they were saying, with a certain threshold where we would only be looking at dollar amounts
I would
over?
need to look at the query, how it's done.
I wasn't sure if that's
I don't
possible.
believe it is. I think it's just a date range that we
Okay.
put in there.
Okay, so that answers our question on whether or not the threshold could be done. Because I agree with you, Mr. Rodriguez, I don't think that we need to be seeing every single, purchase that is made, but, for the sake of transparency, I think it's important for our community to see that you guys are doing, our campuses, everybody is doing exactly what they need to be doing, and we're not wasting money anywhere. You know, it's easy for people to say, oh, well, if everybody wasn't spending so carelessly in X, Y, Z, then we would be fine. And so that was really my purpose for asking for this, was so that we know exactly where money is going, and that argument can't really be made anymore. I think it's crucial that the board says what they want. I mean, at the end of the day, whatever decision is made here is what's going to be honored. But that was my reason for requesting it. So I appreciate you answering those questions.
So Ms. Pilley, on the check register, you have everything from all the purchase, represents that were purchased, whether it be for campus t-shirts, for, whatever.
Every
Everything
check-
is on there on the check register?
Every check that went out was issued in that month will be listed there.
And it specifically states the amount and how much and what it was for?
Correct.
Okay. I think that as board members, we also need to do our part, and maybe if, because you talked about the questions. So there's a limit on how many questions we ask, and then, somehow, submit those questions, make sure they're not redundant. And that way, if I have a question and Ms. Barnes or Ms. Ortega have the same question, well then, that question will count against me. Do you understand what I'm saying, Mr. Rodriguez? Like, for instance, if we have a limit of questions only?
No, I wanna honor each board member, so I don't wanna limit the question, because your question is valid. So, again, it's y'all, we serve at the will of the board. If I want to limit, you can limit. I just, again, if a board member has a question about the warrant report or whatever, I'll decide, sit with you and answer your questions. As I do every month, you know, I gather them all and then I send them all to you all. And then some of you all respond, hey, thank you very much. This is what I was thinking too. I wanted to ask the same question. So, I don't know if I answered your question, but I just think every board member should be allowed to ask what they need to ask.
So can I make a suggestion then, maybe Ms. Barnes? Why don't we try out the check registered website and see if it satisfies our questions that we have, and then if we see something in there that we want to question, we go about doing it the way we normally do, take it to Dr. Valdez.
Since I know that that's on there now, I think that is a good idea. Because basically it's the same thing, you know, without the description in regard to what the payment was for, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So it'll just have the vendor and the amount. Okay. I mean, I'm okay with that. How does everybody else?
And with that, if we have a question, then there could be a little bit more detail besides what's already on there, I think, so that it wouldn't be as presuming to work on.
And if you want it on the agenda, now that we're revising the agenda, how many, what you can add to the agenda? So, want that on the agenda, is it on? The answer in Thursday packet did
Not surprised that. I'm okay with that, at least to try it. If I feel that it's not, thorough enough for us to be able to, you know, see what's going on, then I'll ask for additional information, but really, I haven't gotten a chance to look at it, but now that I know that that's there, I think that will help a lot, so I appreciate that. And that way we can lead people to those same areas that people are asking those questions too, so thank you for that.
No action. I'll take this to the next item.
Don't go there. Can you just for the record, Mr. Adrian, right now what we just discussed as far as, we'll try out what's on the website, the check register, I think she is what you call it. Okay, thank you.
Item 4B, discussion and action to change the purchasing amount needed for board approval. Presenter, Trustee Brian Barnes.
So I asked for this item for the same reason, because of the financial situation that we're in. I know that, I believe it was in 2021 or 2022 that we changed the purchase amount up to 100,000. You don't remember? It was over the last couple of years, because I remember sitting in those seats on that. But we changed it from the legal amount of 50,000. Is that correct? Legal, the state says 50. Okay, we changed that from 50,000 to 100,000. That the board will not see those RFQs and things of that sort for those different proposals. Okay. So my reasoning for wanting to change that is simply so that we can have, it was, the state is 50. Yeah, I looked at CH Legal to pull that. So my proposal is that we go back to that because of the situation that we're in. That way we can really make sure that every dollar that we're spending is necessary right now. I think that $50,000 still gives us quite a bit of wiggle room to be able to spend things as needed at a campus level. I understand the reason behind it originally was to try to expedite things quicker onto the campus as needed, but because of the situation that we're in, I really would like to go back to that 50,000. That's not to say that once we, you know, kind of get back in order and we're back in the good in our books, then that we could change it back, but in the green, there you go. Once we're back in the green. But that's my proposal for now, is that we change that back to the legal limit of 50,000 instead of 100. My motion is to change that in our policy.
I will second it.
No, I just wanted to make a comment. If we really want to balance our budget, we should balance the budget when it's voting on balancing the budget, and I think that's where we'll see a better return versus us trying to put thresholds or whatever. But I think, I mean, the last couple of meetings have been till 12 a.m. Let's start going back to the good old days and going until 2 a.m. But it's up to y'all.
I'll make a
okay
comment.
with the rest of the board. So.
I'll make a comment. This is our way of, or at least in my opinion, this is a way of balancing the budget. And it is, sometimes you have to do things ahead of time, be proactive, before you get to the place where we're at now. So I think that, again, this will help. I don't think it's going to take any additional work from anybody other than just coming before the board and proposing anything from 50 to 50,000 and up. Because I've sat at those meetings when this was in fact happening. And so again, I think it's just the way of making it better. Like, frankly, it's not picking on anybody. It's not, you know, wanting to stay here till 2 in the morning. Nobody wants to do that. We have families of our own. Staff does, board members do. But I think it's about accountability, transparency, and all you have to do is bring it forward, tell us what it is, and that's it.
I agree with Ms. Maldonado. You're correct. I mean, we serve at the will of the board, 150. We do our financial first report as the superior with the 100,000, and we'll be superior with the 50,000. So, I'm sorry, Ms. Boyd.
No, I just wanted to, just to share a little bit of information. One of the reasons also why the threshold was changed is that it does require additional work. It's not just bringing forth an item, it's preparing for it. There is executive summaries that need to be prepared, and that is done by our purchasing agent, our one purchasing agent that does prepare that for you. I believe that there was a request to have put forth any PO that was issued over 100. That was part of the warrant report, and that could also be brought back to allow that transparency and that visual for the board as well. just as an option.
And I thank you for that. But, you know, as far as any changes that we make, anything different that we do, even as a teacher, even as a student, it takes work.
Oh, absolutely.
It absolutely takes
100%.
work.
We're not afraid of hard
So,
work.
no,
We
we're
do it
not.
all the time.
We're not. And so, I appreciate the information though. Thank you.
Just to clarify, we're moving the threshold from 100 to 50. Is there any other questions? If not,
I just want to clarify something. So these would still be under consent agenda, just like our usual items. So as long as we don't have any questions about them, it really wouldn't extend our board meetings any further, correct? All right, just wanted to clarify that.
Want us to bring a policy change if it passes?
Yes, please.
And so, Dr. Lavis, if we had a question on that, we would just, same way, address it to you. If we're satisfied with it, we move on, or we continue with the meeting. Thank you.
thank you. Adrian, full board.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado,
Yes.
Mr. Martinez,
Yes.
Mrs. Ortega,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
No.
Ms. Urbina.
Yes.
Motion passes.
I'll take us to the next item.
Item 4C, list of all contracted services, cost, and explanation of each service rendered. Presenter, Trustee Brian Barnes.
So again, I requested this information. Honestly, I hadn't thought about this report until the music program got brought up when we were doing the RIF, when it was mentioned that we had hired, that we had contracted a, what was his title? A music consultant. Thank you. Think of the word. A music consultant. So I requested this to see what other contracted services did we not know about that would have been concerning. And really, I want to say I was pleasantly surprised, Dr. Galavis, that, I mean, thank you for being so fiscally responsible, and thank you finance and everybody else, because really I think this shows that our money is going where it needs to be going. I did have a couple questions that I have, but overall, I feel like we're taking care of our campuses, we're taking care of our facilities and our buses and so on and so forth. And so a majority of these funds are going to take care of those maintenance things that aren't covered in our budget. So I do appreciate that. In regard to some of the questions that I had, one was over the APIC solutions for comprehensive support of the surveillance system. Does that basically the maintenance on our surveillance systems that are done twice a year? I saw those are big dollar amounts, so they kind of stood out to me. Okay, a lot of our T work there, and I'm assuming, is that through the, no. Is it, I was just gonna ask, is this for the police department or just for the campus?
So it's every like if a door doesn't open, we report it right away and they jump on it. But the only thing, the past 2 times that those big amounts have come out, it's through the safety and the security grant. So it's not coming from our actual, it's through our grant. And that's the past 2 times. So we did it 3 months, and this past one we did it for 2 months.
Okay, so were these amounts, the $16,910, Dr. Galavis, was that out of the general fund?
Yeah, all that is 199.
It's 199. Okay, so but you're saying in the past prior to that it was part of the security?
Yes, this last 2 months that we just did, we got it through the grant.
Perfect. Okay. And then I saw. Sorry, excuse me. The music consultant. So, can I ask in general what he was hired to do?
When last year, when the music director at that time stepped down, we had no practice in the summer, so we still had to do summer band. We had like a teacher, play teacher. So we brought in a music consultant who's known through the region to find us, because it was a hard position Bill. Help us, our current music director he was at a high school, but it went to middle school, so now he's coming back to the high school. It's really to help him acclimate him back to high school. As you can tell, we had a very successful band performance. Also with our theater arts, so.
Perfect, okay, thank you. My other one was about the armored car services. What do we use them for?
That is the Loomis, correct?
Night guys.
Night guys.
They pick up the deposits at the campuses and here.
That makes perfect sense. I was like, what? I was thinking security reasons, so thank you for that. And then we have an accounting, audit services, and consulting. That was another big item. So is that because we don't have an internal auditor? Or is
No, that's done every year by the state, by law. We have to have a independent auditor to check our books.
I think we have to have an external audit.
Okay, so that's the external audit, and we don't include that in our yearly budget, even though we know we're gonna have to do it.
No.
It's a contracted service.
It's still a contracted service, but it's part of the budget. Okay, so that was really it. So I want to give, I don't know if anybody else has any other questions or anything, but thank you for that, Dr. Galvez, because this really helps me to see, I mean, through the whole year, we really didn't have a ton, so thank you for.
President, I do have a question. So on page 10 and on page 12, we have Far West Services as well as Border International, and they service our buses. Do we not have insurance to do that? Does it not cover that?
I'm gonna say I don't know. Dr. over, you know, Ms. Foley?
So it's for repairs, so we only have one mechanic, so the volume, and especially for the large repairs for the buses, and I believe it's about six or seven of our older buses that they go out for repair. We do need to contract them, because there's just not capacity within our own staff.
Thank you for that information.
That is my question, that I had for Far West, and for RJ Border International trucks. And it seems that they're all sped buses. And my question was, do we not have a mechanic? So you just answered it. We have one mechanic. And so, because some of the highest amount was, I believe, like almost 7,000. And so, that's a lot. I mean, I understand that they're older, but, and it seems like, so is it just maintenance, or is it because they break down and they actually need the parts? Because it says labor parts, type thing. Okay, so that was my question. So we only have one mechanic, and he does service them.
Well, now what I can do is, Dr. Rico missed the flight.
Okay.
I'll take your question and we'll put it in the packet.
Would it be cost effective?
To hire another mechanic?
Yes, would it be cost effective to hire another mechanic? Because on the cost, if you add them up, I think we're looking over like $30,000, $40,000.
Okay, I'll check.
My other question was regarding, do we not have personnel, that can address electrical and intercom issues? May he rest in peace, Manny Hidalgo used to do that for us years ago, where he would take care of, intercom issues. Do we not have that personnel to be able to take care of those issues? That would be another question. For like minor electrical intercom.
We do have we have 2 electricians on staff. So I'll check and see what their capability is.
Okay, because I know that Mr. Hidalgo used to work on the intercom services. And then the last one was, well actually, right before that one, are we still paying the music consultant? Or now that we have a director, we're not?
For this year, yes, but for next year, I don't know. I haven't talked to Mr. Rodriguez. He's still gonna require the consultant to stay on.
Okay.
Again, I'll ask him tomorrow. I'll put that in the Thursday packet.
And then we had agreed that one of the music teachers from the elementary was gonna go and help him and be at the high school too, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The other question was, on the air conditioning, heating and air conditioning, there's some, units that are being replaced, 3 of them at Northwest Early College. And one, I forgot where it was a 5-ton unit. But is this, coming from the bond, by any chance?
No, we're not spending, track, monies on Northwest Orange Valley.
Okay. But how about the other one, the 5-ton? I don't remember which one was that.
Mr. Adiola, would you know? Yes. Can you come up here? Are you step away or anything? Okay. Spanish.
Real quick, I had Dr. Rico said any questions to your answers, Ms. Maldonado. On the mechanic, it's not just the services, but it's the hardware, the machines that they use. Those run up to $100,000. So even if we hire someone, we don't have the machinery to be able to service those buses. And regarding the electrical issues, he's telling me that that's older hardware, and we do not have a tech that can provide those services.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Ask about the HVAC.
Can you repeat your question?
So there's 2 items. One for, okay, so Northwest, you answered, we're not spending money, but they're replacing three units at Northwest for a total of 7,017. So I was just wondering, that's not coming out of the bond, but it's coming out of maintenance right now because they need it. Okay. And the other one was, there was another 5-ton for 32. So I just wanted to know also if that was from the bond. If it's on this list, then it's not coming from the bond. It's 199. So it's because we need it. It's not a campus that we need. Okay, that was it.
Did those answers suffice or does Dr.
¿Sí me entendió?
Yes, yes. All the system, all the expense.
It's just an expense, nada from the bond.
Those expense.
Ok, porque se necesitan ahorita. ¿No sabe cuál es el otro que están reemplazando por 3,200? ¿En cuál área, cuál campus? Yo sé que son en Northwest y no recuerdo el otro. ¿Do you have the list?
It's not unit. Es el motor o es otra cosa.
Dice replace 5-ton unit.
Replace
5-ton unit, 5 las unidades de 5 toneladas.
Yes.
But,
I'm not sure. Let me check my computer. But it's all the same expense.
Any expense. Okay, gracias.
Let me check.
Mr. Chair, and just in regard to the buses, so in your report that you put together, can you also ask Mr. Rico how the electric buses that we agreed upon, how that's going to affect these 6 older ones that we're looking at that most of the funds are coming for? Thank you.
Any other questions? No, take the students in.
Item 4D, discussion and possible action to revise election cycle and move trustee election to May versus November. Presenter for President Armando Rodriguez.
I could keep these 2 items fast. I think there needs to be some research, and then the legislative session is still going. I just saw an update by our senator where they changed the election cycle to Alpine. So I think if we could allow legal to look at May to November, and then the second item, which is as we continue to grow, how can we provide a balanced approach on representation, there's hybrid models, and that would be the next item.
So I have a really quick question. What is the benefit of moving it from November to May?
So if you look at, in regards to November usually gets bogged down in a presidential or gubernatorial election where there is not that much people looking at the overall focus of what's going on. Local elections, there's been discussions where local elections should be in May and state and federal should be in November. So previously they allowed us to move, because originally our elections were in May. I don't know if you remember back probably about 10, 15 years ago. They allowed us to move into November. And there was just a time span. I think a couple of years ago they also allowed for movement, but it was within a time span. And so they might not allow us to do it, but I wanted to have that conversation, but we could have dialogue on it as well.
Who would know what the outcome was for this past election, for November versus May?
I did research. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So I did research as well, and I went to Ballotpedia. And this last, in May, the last election that we had in May, in 2024, we only had about 2,000 people vote. But if you compare that to the election in November of 2024, we had more than 4,000 people vote. So if we want more representation from the community, I say we stay in November.
And that's what I thought. I thought that Novembers would bring out more people because they're actually voting for government and different. And so I think that the amount of people that would come out and vote would be more.
There is a larger voter turnout. That's what happens at the end of that. Is you could see that at the end down ballot is when people stop actually voting for it. They don't know sometimes who they're voting for. So that was a process behind it.
I think I'd like to make a motion to keep it in November as is.
I'll second that motion.
So no research?
Let us discuss this. There's a lot of discussion to be made. I don't mind if we move it forward. I mean, that would be perfect. Now, the problem is if we move it backward, so some of us will serve 6 months less, correct? But the issue, it is true. However, the number that Ms. Ortega mentioned, that's incorrect. We look at the highest votes that we got for the trustee in May, we're looking about 2,060 votes, okay, among 8. So more than likely, more like 3,800 people voted. However, in November, we saw a tremendous amount of people voting. We saw maybe about 10,000 people voting. Is that affecting us? Yes. Mostly Republicans come out in force and they want to be heard. And that's a reality of things, right? So how does that benefit this board? I think that's something that we need to look at. Maybe we don't make a decision right now, but the reality of things is that we need to possibly consider, depending on how you feel. I mean, do we want a lot of votes? Do we want to just focus primarily on the school district? It's up to us.
Thank you. So, what you are saying in regard to November versus May is correct. We have substantially more people come out and vote in November, and it is because of the presidential elections usually and other big things that are held on those ballots. But honestly, there are a lot of people who do vote who don't go and vote in May. And so I think that by switching to a May vote, we're silencing a lot of our community. I will say, if you actually look at the research of people voting, even though we have maybe 13,000 come out and vote, there's a lot of people, if they don't know who to vote for in these certain elections, they'll just skip them. They're undervotes. And so I feel like by moving it to May, we're not giving our community the voice because they're less likely to come out and vote in May than they are in November. So that's my take on it. I feel like if we really want to hear from our community and who they want to represent them, November is going to be the better option for that.
And as of right now, we cannot move an election to May. It was just for people to do that research. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But if y'all want to keep it in November, that's fine. I think the most important thing is, I think voter turnout is important, but most importantly, an informed voter during voter turnout is the most important. So, there's a motion in a second. Are you staying with that motion in a second?
So, Mr. Blanco, what is it that you would research?
Thank you, Board President Rodriguez, members of the Board, Dr. Galavis. There are bills that are pending. A lot of them are local in nature, where they're going to allow certain areas to change the election cycle. There's not one pending right now that would apply statewide to school districts. Mr. Rodriguez is correct. I want to say it was 12 years ago. They allowed districts to switch from May to November. So this district was on the May calendar, moved to November. Right now, there's not the statute in place that would allow you to go back to May. It's just a matter of waiting and seeing if one of the statutes that passes will include this area or if it will be statewide. But right now, there's not a new bill.
Thank you. Therefore, my motion stands to leave it as is in November.
And my motion stands to second it.
Okay, then we put one.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez?
No.
Mrs. Ortega?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
No.
Ms. Zuniga?
No.
Motion fails.
Motion fails.
At this point, it wouldn't even make a difference, but I think the better discussion is on the next slide. Go ahead, Adrian.
Item 4E, discussion and possible action to revise, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry, 4E, discussion and possible action to revise election policy and create a single member districts at large or places.
And in regards to this, there's a hybrid model. I believe Socorro has at-large and districts. El Paso ISD has all districts. I believe Dayton and some of the other districts have faces. And so I think it's good for us to look into these options as the district continues to grow and how we can make sure whatever that outcome might be. We don't know if it's going to be all districts or all at large or a hybrid or faces. But I think it's important for us to look at that information as the district continues to grow.
So I can understand bigger districts with bigger populations, but even when we have the growth, we still have you have Westway, you have Bill Childress area, you have, I mean, if you're going to separate it by where the schools are, and so I'm not in agreement.
So that's a point to be made, is that if the board determines that you want to go away from the purely at-large system that you have now to some model that includes single-member districts, there are a couple of things that have happened. One is an evaluation of the census and a districting, I won't call it redistricting because they're been districted, an evaluation of your population, your areas, and then how many places are going to be single member, all or some, whichever you choose. The group that is going to be single members have to be nearly as equal in population as reasonably possible to make sure that people are voting at the same level, so your votes count. You can't make one district gigantic and one district tiny. So the last census that was completed was in 2020. I want to say it was released late because of COVID. That census would still be valid. You have to go back, you have to hire an entity, and there are companies that do this that go and evaluate the population and draw districts. Additional requirements that have to be met are that you have to hold public hearings and meetings, publish notice in the newspaper, advising the public you're going to move to single-member districts, and there are provisions for the public to submit petitions that those would be different things, or in support of it before you do that. So it's not something that's just snap of the finger, we can't do that tonight. It's just a question of whether or not you want to look into changing to some form of single-member districts or hybrid model.
Or places.
You can do places too, yes.
Place would be each one gets a place and it's all at large, so you're running against somebody who runs for that place at large.
but that's not a single member model.
I still feel that we need to keep it as is. Our community is not, our population is not that big to have a single member for each area. I think that it's worked in the past the way we've had it, and I think that it will continue to work. So again, I'm not in agreement to even look into it.
If I might, I think we should always look into stuff. And in regards to the growth of the district, there's certain areas that aren't being represented. And at one point, there was pretty much 4 people that lived off almost the same street and kind of deal. And so I think it's important for us to have representation from every. Back in the day, we didn't have representation from Westwood. We don't have representation from the Cimarron area. Cimarron? Oh, boy. Well, we didn't have for a long time. We didn't have Cimarron. You know, but I think it's important. I see it. I always try to take a balanced approach, and of course, it's not us making those decisions. It's going to be the professionals of looking at the data and saying, okay, this area would have, you know, I would say like split it in 4. You would have 4 districts and 3 at large. That's what Socorro has. So each area is it 3?
5 or 2.
5 and 2. Either or, we could create 4, whatever that's going to look like. But I think that has a balanced approach where you have every area of this community being represented by one person, and then you have that large. I'm just saying, let's go look at it, and it's up to the board at the end of the day.
Mr. Board President, if I may. I ran to represent all of Canutillo ISD, not just a portion. I would hate to see any division be created on this board because one is representing one area and another is representing another.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Exactly what I was thinking, that I am here to represent every single member of this community and all the students. It doesn't matter where they're from.
The same here, so I don't see the difference. I think what we're trying to do is make sure that each area of the community is represented. We talk about representation, and that's something that is important. So let's imagine if you look at some of the legalities, even going to Richardson and some of the other areas where I think it might be that, you know, Canutillo might not be represented. It might be in the future where it's just Cimarron. And so, I mean, it could happen. And so I think we're just trying to figure out, when you look at the number of votes going back, there was 28,000 votes. 25,000 were undervotes. So people that are going out to vote aren't going to vote for the CISD election. Correct. And when this other stuff happens too, it's just, I think I'm just trying to be proactive and trying to make sure every area of this community is represented. And if, I mean, I don't want to go into politics and saying who represents what or what, but I think, I would hope that we're all here for every kid.
If I may, just to clarify, I guess I have a question. So say in the future, or the districts that do have it, where you have it sectioned off, what if nobody runs for that seat?
The person holding the seat maintains the seat.
Maintains it.
It's unopposed to
So, for example, if we were to change, let's just say we voted on that, we were to change, and then the next election, nobody ran for a certain area, there isn't anybody on the board to represent that.
That seat's filled by appointment.
By appointment, okay.
It's vacant, and then you fill it by appointment.
Because that would be honestly, that's my biggest concern in regard to this, is we don't have, as big as our community is, land mass-wise, all the different areas, we don't have a ton of people that run from all different areas. And so I would be concerned that we would have seats, probably more than one, that may not have a single person run, and then again, going back to appointing and so on and so forth, is that really the best person there to represent that area? So I think with how small we are here to represent the entire district. We're not that big, we have less than 6,000 kids. It is a large area, it's a big job when you're campaigning to cover all of that area, but at the end of the day, if you're really in it for the kids and for the community, I think going to all of those areas is important and it's worth it. So that's my opinion on it. I do see the reason for it in larger districts. There's no way that a single person or even their campaign teams could cover all of those areas well. So maybe one day if we have a lot more people running in all of the different areas, this could be something that we could consider and feel comfortable that we would have representation in each area. So that would be my concern with this, but I understand your concern, Mr. Rodriguez.
And right now, if you look back at, the Cimarron area, how many people from Cimarron reached out to us as far as cuts that were being made and things like that, I mean, I didn't respond, but it was amazing. And so I do feel that the community feels that we all represent them. I don't think that there's a division, and like Mr. Ortega said, I would hate for that to start. I make a motion that we leave it as is.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. Adrian, will you call the board? I do have a question in regards to place. I know we would have to look at moving all elections. I mean, we would have to move the election if we do.
Can't move the date of the elections.
Not the date of the election. If we were to decide to go at large and single member, we would have to push everybody to run, right?
Everybody runs, and then at the end of the election, you draw lots to determine the staggered terms for the various positions.
Now, in regards to place, what would that process look like?
It's similar to having single member districts. You still need to do the itemization. That is the requirement of the person running declare that they're running for that particular place. Not running that large as you can.
That that could be voted by the board at any point in time?
Yeah, all of this is subject to the board going through the process and voting and
Would we have to change the election, or we would just add?
can't change the election.
Not that, on the first part, we would have to change the election, or we would have to, not change, we would have to make sure that the election would be held for all 7 board members.
It's the same for places.
It's the same for places?
Yeah, but you're not changing the election date. Just declare you're gonna do it. Hold the election, then you draw lots for the terms.
I still think we should look at it together. That's
I
okay.
think there's a motion in the second, Mr. President.
I'm actually the chair, and I know.
Mr. Chair.
I mean, if you want to call the question, you could call the question. That's the difference between having discussion after a motion and a second.
Mr. Chair.
Call the board.
If I may, I don't think what you're saying is invalid anyway. Any research that's out there that can be supplied to the board on Thursday packet, I think if it was something we were going to consider tonight, it should have been there for us to consider on the agenda. But please include it. I mean, if there's anything else that we should look at and research in order to bring this back up again, definitely bring it forward to us in a Thursday packet to consider. That would be my recommendation.
Mr. Chair, I totally agree with you. I think down the line, as the district grows and we have these new elementary schools, possibly new middle schools, it's something to consider. We think this is a thing of the future, but until then, I would like to.
I think it's, and thank you, I think it's important that we have conversations at the board first, and not like, I don't want to go into this, but I think it's important for us to have that dialogue, and wherever it comes, that's where we need to move forward.
Mr. Chair.
Whatever that vote is.
And I agree with you. I think change is good. Change is good. We need to look at different options, how we run the district, and I think it's always possible. We can always get better.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Mrs. Ortega?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
And Ms. Zuniga?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 4F, budget update presentation. Presenter Ms. Christy Poole.
first slide is, we just want to reiterate to the board, to the community, that we have proven our financial stewardship over the funds that we are entrusted with. Our external audit for the past 10 years has not had any findings. We've balanced the budget between fiscal year 2018 to 2023. The last biennium was more challenging due to lack of legislative action. Our ratings on our first report has had superior ratings since 2018. Our credit ratings for Moody's was upgraded in 2021 from A1 to AA3 and has been maintained ever since. We have high caliber annual financial reports. The district can prepare just a regular annual financial report. However, we prepare a comprehensive annual report, which is a level above any other report. And this has been done since 2016, and we were also the first district in the region to prepare one. We also have obtained several financial accolades to include the Certificate of Achievement in Excellence from the GFOA for the past 8 years. Also, the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting from ASBO, Award of Excellence in Financial Management from TASBO. We were the first in the region. We were also one in 15 districts out of 15 for the entire state that was awarded that initial year. We have also received the Purchasing Award of Merit for the past 5 years. And we also have received a Transparency Star for traditional finances for the past 4 years from the state comptroller. And this just gives a little bit more substance to the things that we do here as a district, together with the board and our administration, and how it is that we manage the finances of the district. So to begin, the adoption process starts with a plan, and our plan has been to have a balanced budget, where revenues will equal our expenditures, and that has always been the plan. We need to live within our means, basically. So whatever comes in is the amount that should go out, the limit of what should go out. So basically what we're looking for is, what are the end results? What happens? So what is fund balance? And this is like the district savings account. What happens every year is, at the end of the fiscal year, we will close the year, and whether it was a positive or a deficit, it will roll into our savings, basically what is our fund balance. And that's how the fiscal process will work, and we'll start again on July 1st. Our two largest contributors to our revenue is our state funding and our local funding. Our state funding is driven by our enrollment projections, and our property taxes are also is what drives our local funding. Those are the two largest revenue sources for the district. Now, the funding formula, however, is set by the state, and this basically is a level formula. We only receive a certain amount that is decided by our TA funding formula. Whether the state pays more or the local taxes pay more, it just depends. So this is where it would receive more property taxes, which has often been the case, and sometimes comments in the community is that we are becoming a property-rich district. However, this funding formula only allows you to receive so much funding for school districts. So if we receive more funding from property taxes, we are actually going to have to send money back to TA. So for the next school year, I am projecting about a $250,000 recapture payment to the state because our property taxes have grown so much. So the first driver is our enrollment. Our enrollment projection for the upcoming school year, we're projecting 120 less students. And basically what's happening is that we're graduating larger classes than the classes coming in. Our birth rates are a little bit lower, and we're losing some of these students as part of that. Our enrollment has been declining, and of course, I think this is something that you all are well aware of. It's part of the reason why a bond was passed to address the areas of growth. So this, for our projection, we are projecting also at a conservative number. We're using 94% for the attendance rate, and how we project our numbers is that we're basically rolling over our students from kinder on, and we're keeping our pre-K through K steady for the next school year. Property taxes have the projected values. So we get our property taxes at different times. We get estimates. We actually don't know the final numbers until the year has already ended. Our year ends on June 30th. However, we don't receive final values for the comptroller until the following January. Our year has finished and it's done. So it's very difficult to predict. So we use trends on what's happening. You all may be aware that there is a Senate bill right now proposing an additional homestead exemption. So that will affect these numbers as well if that does come through. But for right now, our property values are estimated to grow at a 9%. I do believe that this is a conservative number. Our values have been growing at about 11%, which is what we saw last year. Now our budget, our pie, basically most of our budget goes into payroll costs. 84% of our budget is made up of our human capital, our teachers, administration. And you can see the different allocations for the different portions of our general fund budget. Our proposed budgets by campus shows a decrease, and for the reasons that we had brought to you before, and the decisions that have been made on cuts, additional program cuts, anything that's affecting the campus is presented for you here. And there has been about a $2.5 million overall cut at the campus level. Most of this, of course, in the areas of personnel. Our projected deficit for the upcoming school year is projected to be at 1.4. The last time we talked, we were at a $6.3 million deficit, and we have done conservative projections. We adjusted our ADA from 95 to 94%. Tax collections, and also we've seen a decrease in our student demographics in certain allotments. So that accounts for 1.4 million of that. We've also saw the budget reductions, both in personnel as well as operations, and that accounts for 3.3. We also have a healthcare plan savings that we are going to bring to you next month that will provide some more details as far as what's happening with the healthcare plan. The savings that we have been realizing, and a proposed increase on the employer portion. The net savings that we anticipate to generate from that will be about $500,000. We also have a real estate projected transaction that will probably close next fiscal year, and that will assist as a one-time assistance to the deficit of about $2 million estimated. We also allocated 2 hours of our custodial staff that works at the campus to the child nutrition program, which is a different revenue source than the general fund. That netted about $500,000 in savings. So that our projected deficit that we're bringing forth is about 1.4.
But I do want to take you to that healthcare plan savings. Again, we're going to bring that in June for your vote. And if you don't do the $500,000, our deficit goes to $900,000. If you don't, if you don't do the $500,000, our deficit will be down to $900,000. Can you go deeper into that?
So what's happening is that we do need additional contributions to the healthcare fund. However, because when we budget at 100% savings, at 100% for healthcare for every employee. However, not every employee is opting to be included in the healthcare plan. So we have some savings on the budget side from that. And with that budget savings that we have, we still need to fund the healthcare fund. So we need to increase the contribution there. So what we're going to bring forth is that we contribute an additional $100 for those that are participating in the healthcare plan, and this will still net a savings of about $500,000. If we don't do this, the burden will fall on the employee, which when it's time to renew in October, November, our plan renews in January, and so we're gonna have to increase the employee portion by 100 plus, in order to maintain our fund balance in the healthcare fund. So it's a decision that we're gonna bring to the board. We'll provide additional information. I believe Gallagher will be presenting, the numbers and their projections. And so it's a decision that the board can make. They can elect not to contribute the extra $100, and of course that will help the deficit that we currently have in the general fund, but it would also create an additional cost for our employees.
I have a question.
Yes.
So what would the savings be? I don't know if you know exactly right now, but would it be reasonable to just have those employees that opt out and just keep those savings from that instead of adding them $100?
Yes, so this number is net of that.
Okay, so this isn't including the extra 100?
Yeah, this includes adding the 100 for only the employees that are opting in to do the healthcare plan, and also realizing the savings that we're doing of those that elect not to join the healthcare plan.
Okay, thank you.
So, if we increase CISD's contribution by 100, right?
By 100, yes.
And that's that savings.
Right.
But if we don't, then it falls on the employees to pay the additional by $100 maybe, right?
Correct.
And it will reduce the savings?
It will, so your projected deficit, we project that there's going to be about $1 million in savings. So if we contribute $100 for each employee that's in the plan, we still will realize a savings of about $500.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
That $100 that you're talking about, is that $100 for the whole year? Or
Per month.
Per month.
Per
Okay.
month.
Thanks.
So that brings us to our fund balance. After these numbers are included in the allocations, our fund balance is projected to be about $8.2 million ending this next school year. That would give us 47 days of fund balance. This is still below our 90-day requirement, which is required by board policy.
If the state comes through, right, it's going to be, well, no, about $55 days. Is it going to add more days to the fund balance?
Yes, so I had an update here. Of course, this was from last week. The new money that's actually going to be generated at the time that I did the projection was about $300,000. The rest of the funds have to be spent in a manner in which they were approved. So they're not helping necessarily per se the deficit. They are helping on the operation side by supplementing, whether it's salaries or our safety allotment. But it's not helping necessarily with the deficit. I did receive a projection today, and we anticipate that possibly we would have about $900,000. Of course, this is all preliminary. Nothing it has been passed or set, and different things will affect these projections. So the only amount that we can maybe say that might come in would be between $700,000 to $900,000 of new money.
And so when you say, is the salary included in what's being projected to come to us, or it's just through a separate thing? Or is it combined?
So we're projecting about $3.8 million of new money coming in. However, those are set allotments. So they're set to be spent on salaries, they're set to be spent on special ed, on CTE, on safety and security. We have to spend them in those areas. It doesn't necessarily help our fund balance.
But my question is, if they're set to go through this, will that free up from to add more
No,
days?
it will add additional expenditures.
But how does it affect the days?
Because if you look at especially while it's still between House Bill 2 and the Senate bill, it's requiring an increase in salary. So that has to be earmarked towards that, and so we're actually not allowed, and depending how the final bill comes, there's, right now it's a 30% requirement on previous.
30% on the basic allotment, however, the new allotments, for teacher retention, all of those, of course, we would have to spend on exactly as they are written into law.
So I guess my question is, we're getting money, however, that's not gonna free up money elsewhere to increase our days in our fund balance.
Basically, the money we're getting, we're gonna have to spend
Right, on certain things.
on certain things. The additional
So it
funds-
doesn't prevent us from, okay, we've got this money to spend here, therefore we don't have to spend it from our general fund. You know what?
all that new money is general fund.
Okay.
So the 700 and 900,000 extra?
That would be extra.
So that would be-
700 to 900,
If-
that
if-
would help.
If that goes into effect, you get 700 to 900,000, the 1.4, depending what the board decides on the 500, let's say they leave it, so it's 1.4 minus 700 or 900,000. I think the deficit would be 700,000, but so it would add, because we would have more days in the fund balance.
It would add about 3 days.
That's what I'm asking, thank you.
Yes, it would add about 3 to 4 days.
But we're still in a deficit. I mean, one of the things that I want to look at in regards to it's very complicated. I'll wait till the final.
And the next slide shows the budget by function and the different decreases as they are by function, which it will also be the way that you will adopt a budget. You will adopt at a function level. I have provided an update as of last week, which was projected at 2.8 million, of which 2.5 would be spent. As of the latest, it's about 3.3 million. 2.5 will need to be spent on special allocations, freeing up between about 850,000. So, of course, all preliminary, subject to change, as it did from one day to the next.
If I may.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, I'm going back to the general fund projections. So the 2,320,000 for the technology refresh. I know at one point we had received some type of grant or something to cover that, or a portion of that 1 year, is that correct? There's nothing out there for us right now. We're looking, okay. We'll keep crossing our fingers about that. Thank you.
And then our next steps is our budget calendar and what's upcoming. We will be adopting our budget in the month of June, and we will also be adopting our tax rate in September. Any questions?
Ms. Goldie, I do have a question. I should have asked it when you were presenting, but I was waiting for the very end. On the slide where you're comparing FY 26 proposed budget allocation by campus, Mr. Okay. 25. So you have your 2024 25 adopted personnel. And then if you go to 25, 26 proposed personnel. If you look at all of them, all the campuses have decreased, except for Deanna Davenport. So there's a difference about 59,000. Can you tell me why?
Yes, so there was one teacher added, a kinder mono, and that was board approved in August of last year.
Okay. And it was not among the cuts that we made?
No, so Davenport is pretty much the allocations for personnel to students, and the class sizes are adequate to what our staffing ratios are. They're smaller classes because sometimes there's only one section. One section may have 13 students versus another.
So this position was added in August?
Yes, ma'am.
So it wasn't included in the adopted personnel that you have here?
No.
It wasn't included in
No,
there?
so after the students came in, there was a need for an additional section, and that's where this,
So that's why it's included for 25-26.
correct.
So I do have a question to my colleagues. I would recommend that we include as one of the budget items auditor. So I don't know what the rest of the board does.
What would the cost be?
I don't know offhand, if I'm estimating it'd be about 130 or so additional.
Well, we can research
With
it.
benefits.
What does it mean? I'm
Oh, go ahead.
asking my colleagues because
Where do we propose paying for that?
what's the line item specified?
If I may, so per day in our general fund balance, about how many thousand is that? So, for example, if we were to hire an internal auditor of about 130, how would that affect our days?
It would be about maybe a day or so, because it would also need an operating budget.
Right. I mean, I agree wholeheartedly that we need an internal auditor, Mr. Rodriguez. But I want to make sure that we're in the place where we're not going to put ourselves in trouble by adding something else on. Would we be able to get a study done of kind of what we're looking at salary-wise and what the projected would be for adding that? And maybe get a report on that, please? Thank you.
Any other questions? Not that I'll take us to the next item.
Item number 5,
Thank you, Mr. Lord.
consent agenda voting.
Mr. Chair?
No.
I asked that the minutes for March 25th be pulled and corrected under music.
Is it just that item you want pulled, right? Is there,
Yes.
Is there any other items to be pulled?
Well, I did have a question on, a little bit more explanation for me on number 7.
Ms. Warren, since you requested item 7, do we pull item 7? Or would you suffice on the
That, yes, he sent me the explanation.
Yeah, so I had asked Dr. Galladese about 5A7, in regard to what all that would cover, and it sounds to me like this is basically just the next step for the bond funds, what we did before in regard to issuing the 100 million, is that correct, what we issued before?
Are you going to pull the item and discuss it, or not?
Oh, I don't know, she was asking me, and we can discuss.
I had asked for it to be pulled, yes. I
Okay.
asked for, 1A,
Hold it up.
pull and correct.
The thing is, part of one of the constraints is that you have to, so I'm asking if she's okay with pulling it because
Yeah, I'm
she
okay with
didn't
pulling
read.
it, to discuss it.
So I'm okay with pulling it, if that's the case. So with that, we're gonna be pulling item E.
No. Item 5A, 1A.
1A, and then the other one? Is
7.
7. Is there a motion to approve the rest of the item?
I so motion.
I second the motion.
There's a motion and a second, you can pull the board.
Ms. Martins?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Mrs. Ortega?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Uñina?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And item
5A, 1A.
Can you reflect the minutes as to?
Mr. Adrian, can you reflect on the minutes for under, I believe it was item 7 on the agenda for that day? The elementary music program redesign? Can you reflect that I voted no? Did you have me as voting yes?
Yes, ma'am.
That would be the correction. Thank you.
Can I get a motion?
I make a motion to approve with the correction just stated.
Is there a second?
I second.
There's a motion and a second. Adrian, can you pull the board?
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Mrs. Ortega?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Motion passes.
I'll take us to the next item.
5A7.
So I kind of I kind of read the explanation to Ms. Barnes. I just need a little bit more layman's term. Please.
Where's Dr. Delis?
Everyday language, please.
Hello, good evening. Would you mind repeating the question? Just a brief overview of what?
You know the item, the agenda?
I know the agenda item.
Okay, so just a little explanation so that I can understand it a little bit more.
Sure thing. So for the record, Rudy Mejia with Nickel Hayden Advisors. We serve the district as financial advisor. So the item that we're discussing today is basically the second piece of the bond that we need to go out and sell. This was part of the plan that the district formulated back in 2024 when the bond was passed. So if you recall, last year in June, we sold the first 100 million. So this time in June, we're selling the second 100 million, and that's to give the district the funds available to purchase land, enter into contracts, things of that nature.
Thank you.
Sure
That's
thing.
all.
Excellent.
Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve as explained.
Is there a second?
Mr. Mejia, real quick, I have a question. Obviously, we approve this, we'll be selling second part, close to almost half of it, correct? Of what the bond will be passed.
Sure.
Okay. Are we to that point where we spend $200 million on it?
I don't believe that we're at the point where we're exhausting 200 million, but I do believe the first piece of that has already been spent, at least a good portion of it. And so the larger capital outlays are coming very soon, and I think the district needs to have those funds available to make those purchases. While the money is not being spent, it is being invested. And I believe we're earning somewhere around 4%, maybe 4.25% on that money. So it's not just sitting there not making money. Your money's working.
Can you repeat that number 4.25?
I believe we're somewhere near 4.25%. I think that's correct. And that's over the past year that the money has been invested.
So by selling the 100 million, we're still looking at the same interest, pretty much the same as we, what is your plan?
Unfortunately, no. Interest rates continue to go up. I think today they came down a little bit. So I think the first tranche that we sold was somewhere around 4.2%, maybe 4.4%. I think this go around will be somewhere around 4.5%, 4.6%. So it's going to be a little bit higher in interest costs, but it also cuts both ways, right? We'll earn a little bit more interest in our savings account.
Thank you, Mr. McKim.
Yes, sir.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Adrian, can you pull the board?
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Maldonado?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Mrs. Ortega?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Mina?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item number 6, executive session to consult with attorney under sections 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. A certified agenda or recording of the clause meeting is confidential and is not available to the public except by court order. A person who knowingly and without lawful authority makes a certified agenda or recording public commits a Class B misdemeanor. Any exception will be communicated in accordance with applicable policies and regulations. Item 6A, discussion regarding options for the identification and potential sale of district-owned real property. 6B, discussion regarding the selection of the appointment of an acting or interim superintendent. Time is 7:43 p.m.
Sorry, really quickly before y'all go to executive session, I'm gonna head out during this, so I just wanted to say thank you guys. I learned a lot for sure. Something that you need to open, as well as all you in central office. You guys are super open to everything you have to say. So thank you.
Thank you. It's still running for the month of June and July if you want.
Oh really?
I'm okay with extending that invitation if you're okay with it.
Yes, definitely. Yes, I agree.
Well, then I'll do that in July, I guess. The official goodbye.
Time is 8:43 p.m. Item number 7, new business. 7A, Discussion and possible action to identify options for the potential sale of district-owned real property. Presenter Steve Blanco.
Thank you, Board President Rodriguez, Dr. Galvez, members of the board. This item was on the agenda just to give the board and trustees an update on the other potential parcels of property the district might in the future consider laying out for bid for sale. There's not any action to take tonight because we've not actually moved forward to get those in the position where they can be sold. So this was just for information at this point.
Item 7B, discussion and possible action regarding the selection or appointment of an acting or interim superintendent. Presenter Steve Blanco.
Thank you. We just completed the discussion regarding the process to be used for interviews regarding the selection of an acting or interim superintendent. If the board is looking at June the 17th for that date, the PIO office will reach out to the interested parties and organize and arrange for the times for interviews on that night. We expect to conduct the interviews that night, hopefully reach a selection. But other than that, there's no action to be taken tonight. Any questions?
I'll take this to next item.
Item number 8, meeting adjournment. Time is 8:45 p.m.